in, so it's not much longer till this game starts. And so let's actually turn the transition then to Velocity, because as you mentioned, right, a lot of guys thought they were the underdogs here. Doublelift said they were the worst team in the LCS, and they're proving people wrong so far.
And they're playing with house money a little bit too.
Yeah.
It's the nobody believes in us, let's kind of prove them wrong, because if Velocity loses a few games, they're not necessarily disappointing anyone but themselves, because the fan expectation just isn't there for them yet. So when they win, it's just a glorious achievement, and that's got to be actually kind of a freeing feeling now that they're a new team in the LCS.
Yeah, we'll see how these guys can live up to the expectations or lack thereof, really, because they've done well so far. Champs
Let's see if they can prove the critics wrong.
Oh, I think they can. They've done it so far. They've taken out CLG. We'll see if they can add another C to their list of wins. And again, we have started hearing of champs like Draven and Evelyn dropped away from Velocity. Can't be surprised by that. Rise, Kha'Zix dropped out from Curse.
And you're right, we do have 4 teams in the LCS that start with the letter C.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a tricky one for them. They did target out Maple Street's Draven, and just like yesterday, it looks like Curse is going to be first picking that Jace.
We've seen Jace and Kha'Zix in champs like every single game.
It was 100% yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Jace, Kha'Zix, Rise, and there was one more. I think it might have been Kennen.
Yeah.
Was either 100% picked and banned. And Rise, Kha'Zix, Kennen were the bans for Velocity, which really says, hey man, we were watching yesterday.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah, they are. It is funny to see that all last split, it was Cop getting his Misfortune band away as well, and people have finally decided to drop that one out. So Voy, I know he first picked Jace back in the playoffs. He's still making sure he wants to go for that one, but it's really not a surprising first pick.
And a lot of the fans were saying Voyboy's Jace was a little bit underwhelming yesterday, but I feel like that was more a result of their poke composition not working entirely the way they wanted it to. They're really letting this timer tick down, so they were not necessarily blown away by the Jace, and they decided to go for that Twisted Fate for Nijaki.
I mean, Twisted Fate is a first pick. That one's incredibly popular, though, right?
Yeah.
100% in Korea, still really common in North America as well. They grabbed that one out, and wow, Jace is left up, and Chris says, yeah, it's fine. I'll take that for me then.
They did that a little faster. Chris decided to swap back. We have to keep in mind that this is a nerfed Twisted Fate on the 3.7 patch. He lost his passive cooldown reduction, and the ultimate cooldown also went up at earlier ranks. So he won't be porting around the map as frequently for Curse Gaming, whereas Velocity has picked the standard champion, so to speak.
They really have. So part of the bottom lane is there. You don't even know where Jace is going to go, and now Curse has to make their decisions. Now, Saint's been playing a heck of a lot of Nautilus, and he's still holding that one strong. So even with like Sejuani available, he still's going to that old guard of Nautilus.
I think the Nautilus is the right pick for St. Vicious. That's what he was playing at the All-Star game and had pretty good success with it, aside from a couple of miscues. The Caitlyn as well is a cop-style champion. I don't know if they're going to be able to lane aggressively enough with Edward.
Well, see what ends up happening with those guys, because they've got to pick the rest of their bottom lane as this champ select rolls through. Velocity, though, they have consistently picked their champions in about 5 seconds flat.
Yeah, they're not really giving us much time to talk through this one. Just like, what's Velocity gonna? They're gonna go for Lee Sin and Varus.
Yeah.
All right, and we're moving from there. The only thing they haven't picked now is most likely. They got a lot of options, actually. They could pick a jungler, a mid laner, or a top laner based on the way Velocity's team comp is set up. The only thing we know now is that Maple Street and NK Inc. are going to be laning somewhere with that virus and Thresh.
Okay, so Curse have to make their own options. That's going to be interesting because, as you said, there's a couple of ambiguous grabs right here, but they know they need a top laner, they know they need a support. It's not Element, so it's not a support Nautilus. And, ooh, Edward, please play Blitzcrank. Please.
Well, he played it yesterday, if I remember correctly.
Patoy did.
Patoy played it. Edward was playing it in solo queue. That's definitely what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
With the Cop Edward combination, but the big surprising thing there, as we see the picks kind of finally finishing up, is the Tryndamere that Voyboy is going to be able to pull out, because Tryndamere versus Jace, if he gets that lane matchup, is actually pretty good for Tryndamere. Yeah. He can sustain out through a lot of Jace's harass, and once he closes, actually will be able to outtrade him. So if Voyboy gets going, that's something he could potentially punish Chris with. We actually saw this exact matchup in the playoffs. Zion Spartan ran Tryndamere against a first pick Jace, against Voyboy. And dunked on the guy. So I want to see if Voy can get his vengeance here. Now Valorose back to the Kale. Yesterday he kept their win rate up. He's going for it again. Yeah, and Valorose likes to stick with one champion if he can help it. In the promotion tournament, it was mid-Rumble. Now it may be mid-Kale. I think he's one of those players who really tunnels into specific champions and says, I'm going to pick this, especially since Kale is so strong in lane, and it may potentially help them protect Maple Street, who they relied on to carry their previous game.
I feel like that's a sort of thing like what Ambition did in the All-Star game, is saying, I'm going to keep picking Kennen, and I'm going to keep picking Kennen, I'm going to make you ban it out so that I can get other picks later on in the tournament. And he's like, yeah, just start respecting my Kale, deal with this right now. So they've got their champions locked in. The 5v5 is about to begin. Beginning of day 2. And it's really go time for these teams. Velocity gets to prove all the critics wrong, go for their second win of the season, start out undefeated, tie for first place if they can win this, and Curse have to say, look, our new acquisition is going to work out for us. And
it's a tough situation for Curse to be in, to be quite honest. The lateness of that acquisition, as impressive as it was, having to go right into a 5-game Super Week on 2 to 3 games practice, and since this is the first that people are really seeing of Curse competitively, this is a lot of the initial judgment on Curse. Curse has been trying to outwardly message that it's the long-term Curse that they're going for and how they're going to grow into development, but they're going to be getting hammered if they don't show up this week and at least get a couple of wins.
Well, here's going to be their first real test for it, guys. The game is underway. Red team Velocity Esports, blue team Curse. Let's get this rocking. They leave up to their base, and look at that, actually. A bit of an unorthodox lane assignment, depending on where they actually go. They've sent their top laner top, but Vile Rose is heading towards the bottom right now.
Yeah, they could be going anywhere they want. One thing they might be trying to counter here if they do decide to go into the mid lane is that Blitzcrank can often do 2v1s in the mid lane. That's actually one of the main reasons people select that champion. We saw when Dignitas was the one who played yesterday, as you said, Patoy, they went for the red buff and blue buff steal, successfully pulled it off, and then got out-pressured later. But if Velocity doesn't want their own jungle to get invaded, they could just put 2 people in mid lane as well and just mimic where Blitzcrank moves with their own support and not necessarily get punished for it.
Oh, that's going to be an interesting match to watch then if they can actually stop Edward from getting into that jungle.
If that's what happens.
Of course.
They're like 36 seconds into the game and we're like, yeah, this is what's going to happen.
And of course, they can make those same adaptations either way. Looks like Chris has a bit of an issue. You're seeing him on your screen right here. And heck, we're just getting the game unpaused anyway, so who cares?
I hate you, Chris. Why'd you pause the game on us? Now, he'll be fine. He's one of the few left-handed gamers we actually have in the LCS, so that's actually why he's sitting all the way over on the left side of the table, whereas most top laners actually sit on the right, because otherwise he'd keep clashing with his jungler's hand when they're playing. So that's one of the reasons Velocity is giving us so much trouble.
Not the top lane jungle synergy you want of sharing the same mouse pad. That seems actually like a detriment. So Velocity making their way into the opposing jungle. We've actually seen a fair number of early jungle pushes, at least for deep wards, in the split so far.
Absolutely. Just the amount of kind of total red control they want. Again, the ward I want to point out was Velocity's ward in Curse's double golems over top of the wall, which will essentially give you the lane assignments of the enemy once that happens. And it's a large amount of early wards placed out. I feel like the first bit of the LCS has been a little solo queue-ish in the sense that these guys are still picking the champions they've had success with over the split and solo queue, and they're putting down so many wards because they really don't have a great read on what the other team's strategies are yet.
It's got to be interesting because these guys would have been trying to come out with something strong at the very beginning of the season and make sure that they're not playing their hands out, and I imagine, right, these guys, whether they practice each other or not, have got to be saying, okay, we haven't shown Velocity this strat.
Oh, look out, Cop.
Oh, he's going right in on a Vile Rose. He's getting knocked up a little bit. Some damage there. The Ignite as well. Has to flash backwards. And looks like that's just going to be the flash for the Ignite, and that's it.
That was a real nice spot for Vile Rose to sit in because it allowed Cop to run all the way past him, which ended up forcing the flash away. That should make the lane a little bit easier for Vile Rose if he decides to go 1v2 bottom.
Well, and that's going to be interesting. NK Inc. does get his blue buff for the trouble, though, so the invade definitely did not stop him there. I actually remember seeing Lee Sin start at blue buff a couple of times so far this week, and it's just all right for him. You did mention that 2v1 mid lane that VES was looking for, and they've got that here, but there goes NK Inc.
And there's going to be a collision here in the jungle fairly shortly. You can see Edwards already peeling back because they're expecting NK Inc. to go in while Thresh goes. This is kind of a reverse of what we expected from a Blitzcrank mid lane, and there's actually 3 members of Velocity potentially there to stop. I really wonder how this is going to play off. It looks like Sandfishes is conceding this.
Well, all 3 members of Hook City are in the same side of the jungle right here, but you're right, Velocity have just control right now, but Saints coming back from the side. We got the smite, actually went to Evaniscus, which is not the worst thing in the world, I suppose.
Well, that's a little bit strange. It was a attempted smite Q, like spike by NK Inc., but somewhere in the middle, Evaniscus auto attack took it out before the end of the resonating strike from Lee Sin got there for the execute. Having a red buff Thresh is not the end of the world, since NK Inc.'s actually going to be able to get a red buff for themselves. If they did that intentionally, I would be ridiculously impressed, but I don't think they did.
I'm going to give them benefit of the doubt. NK Inc., you're amazing. I'm calling it. We'll see. We'll talk about them after the show if they win the game. But Curse right now, though, this 2v1. Now, last time we saw Valrose in the situation, he jungled a heck of a lot and went and took some wolves. Right now, though, he's getting zoned at a bit level 3, but Voyboy, he's getting hit a whole bunch here in the top lane. Yeah,
the Tryndamere versus Jace, unless Tryndamere got some really lucky roll crits at the start of the game, is a little tricky. He's getting poked down. I can expect Chris to maybe dive him right here. Voyboy might try to bait with exhaust.
He just jumps right on in. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The exhaust would have gotten the kill if he had jumped on him in the turret. So Voy's going to try to survive. He's still got that cloth and potions. Last hitting for what he can. His Fury's up, so he'll back. And yeah, he looks like he's weathered the storm for now.
It's a really strange experience laning against a good Tryndamere because they're constantly on the edge of death, but that's sometimes when they're most dangerous. So Chris needs to proceed with a lot of caution in that lane. If he gives Voyboy an inch, Voyboy will take a mile and crush that lane.
And look at that, Voy's actually tied up in minion kills 24-25, but the engage comes in for the bottom lane. Engage is not done, has that red buff, jumps in on Edward, and they're going to keep chasing down. Valrose is involved. Edward does have flash.
No flash on Cop.
The slow is there. Cop trying to run backwards, the knockup for Edward, and he blocks the Q, but it might just be enough damage. One more shot to go. First blood to Valrose.
Really good gank there. St. Fish is trying to come in for some extra, decides not to flash hook for the support. That was flash burned by Valrose. Maybe St. Fishes could punish later, but a very good gank nonetheless. Really capitalizing on the early flash burn from Cop.
Looks like they're still trying to fight right now, though. Saint takes a bit of punishment. Vilo and NK Inc. still putting a bit of pain back. Nope, Saint bit off more than he could chew.
Yeah, his shield got burned immediately as he started that engagement and just made them back off right away. Very good play by Velocity, taking some early pressure down in that bottom lane.
So let's take a look at this 2-on-1 right here, because Valor's got the first blood, but you can see he's down 12 minions compared to Nijaki. However, Maple Street and Evaniscus have burned that tower down about to half health now, so they're making some good progress there.
Yeah, one of the big reasons Nijaki's been able to keep up minion farm in this lane is because of the red buff steal that Evaniscus helped Velocity with, and that allowed Nijaki to have a lot of 1v1 time against Maple Street. But with all that being said, he has had to been forced back to shop, and if that mid turret falls before Curse can get to the top, it's going to be more trouble.
Oh, they got the pull flay on a Saint, forcing him to flash away from that one. He bit off a little bit more than he could chew with that one. Evaniscus hooks him in.
Evaniscus pulling out some solid Thresh play. Maple Street just farming up a storm. Really, unless Curse can get something to shut down Maple Street, he will become a bit of a late game problem with his AD carry mechanics. And since St. Fish has got harassed down so low just holding the lane, that means the gank presence is now diminished and Maple Street should be able to continue in that lane.
That's going to be rough then for these Curse guys. They've got to find an opening somewhere. Right now they're down 200 gold. Actually, that's interesting to me. They're down only 200 gold despite a 600 gold first blood. Jackie looks for the gank with Saint, can't quite find it. Still puts the gold guard down, but that gets shielded pretty well.
The gold often lies to us sometimes in these Twisted Fate games. We're like, how are they still close in the game? Because they get an extra 2 gold per last hit, which right now is only about 160.
But there's the push in on the Voy. Mankang did not expect the knockback though and whipped his Tempest. The slow might have been what he needed for Voy. He is running out there with Ghost. Voy escapes.
At least they burned the Ghost, but they didn't burn Voyboy's ultimate, his Undying Rage. So that lane is going to continue to be a little bit of a farm off. And I don't know if NK's going to be going up there much in the future. His pressure, I feel like, is needed elsewhere.
Well, yeah, because look at this bottom turret taking so much damage. Saints even coming by as well. Virose is zoned off. Despite how much pressure was in that mid lane, this could be Curse taking first turret blood right here. 7 minutes in, this is theirs.
This is good for them. As long as Curse can transition from this turret over to the mid lane and stop that one from going down, they will be able to pull ahead and kind of hold the lead. They need to make a beeline straight for that mid lane, as I think they're doing.
And they're running as fast as they can. TF ult burned as well. He's going to go top lane here onto Chris. The punishment is there. Chris, you're not going anywhere right there. Nijaki gets the kill. Long cooldown be damned, he got the kill.
And surprisingly, Velocity decides to go straight for the Dragon after that top lane gank, trying to equalize it there, saying the turret can wait for later. I wonder if Curse is going to try to steal this one because they aggressively try to smite steal, and sometimes they get burned for it.
Both junglers are here right there. The hooks come off on an NK Inc. A lot of damage on him. He pulls back over. Evidence jumps right back in. NK Inc. does take the Dragon down, but the fight is on 4v4. 4v3. Jackie's coming in from behind pretty soon. The damage is coming across in the Curse lineup. Flash for Evidence and pulls in Maple Street. The damage is there on a St. Vicious now at the bottom lane. They look for Cop. Cop does have his flash available, and they will not chase this one in. Edward hooks soon.
Nice hook
onto Maple. Knock up into the air. The barrier might just save him. It's going to be close. Flay, shield, ignite. Is it? Oh my God! He will not fall over. Maple Street survives that encounter. 1 for 0.
Cop tried to finish it off with a 90 caliber net, but it missed wide right. If he would have autoed, it would have been a little dangerous for Cop, but it would have secured the kill. Maple Street does escape, but that is a Dragon plus kill for Velocity. The aggressive contest 3v4 does not pay off for Curse, even though it was real close to working.
I can't believe that guy lived right there. If he ran like, it doesn't even matter.
Couple
that guy barely made
fractions of a second.
Couple
I
of
feel
fractions
like
of a second.
Could have undone Maple Street, but he's all right.
He had a health potion that helped him a little bit right there. Oh, blue buff is back up, and Velocity can take a breather, as can I. The battle will stop for now. Valrose getting his blue buff. He's going to like that for the cooldown reduction and mana. Nijack's going to do the same, so the mid laners might be playing normal mid lanes now.
Yeah, I want to see where the next gank from Nijacky goes. Using the gank top, even though it kind of cost Curse the Dragon, was a very good call, I think, because if Voyboy can get going, which is why they're kind of trying to get him going right now on Tryndamere, it's going to create so much map pressure on Curse when you combine the Twisted Fate with the Tryndamere.
Oh man, that's going to be brutal for them. I don't want to play against that team. Like, in solo queue, never do I want to face Tryndamere to TF. I'll just cry the whole time. So, Velocity have taken the mid turret. They've got some global pressure of themselves, or I should say map pressure of themselves. They've taken something there. But Chris just has to fight up against Void 1v1. Of course, he lost his flash a second ago. And
Chris is going for a tier because that's just what Jace does, but it also means Jace can't necessarily get away with that on Tryndamere. So that is kind of the glimmer of hope for Curse right now, because the other lanes haven't necessarily been distancing themselves from anyone else. TF out-farmed. TF out-farmed Valrose a little bit, but at the same time, Valrose has been able to pick up that kill and assist plus the Dragon. So you can see the overall trend of the game right now just by looking at the gold is slightly to Velocity.
And see if they can keep this up, though. 800 gold lead for themselves. They've reset the lanes, actually, but Saint wants to upset the balance here. He's looking for a lane gank bottom. And ganking this lane will only grant them kills. It will not grant them map pressure because the turret is already down. St. Fitches decides against that right away. That's not necessarily the best gank path to go. And it also allowed NK Inc. to go into their jungle and freely get more wards, which limits St. Fitches' gank paths in the future. Okay, well then Saint, he's going to have a hard time making another impact in this game. Right now, they've been, I would say, out-farmed in the map. They're down in kills, they're down in the global objectives. Voyboy is trying to make some pressure up in the top lane, though, and look at that, right outside of turret range, puts some hurt onto Chris. Chris, I should say, running out of mana on these trades. So Voy, look at that, he heals all the damage right back up. He's going to be fine. Saint has to escape from NK Inc.
And that was pre-planned. Once NK Inc. realized St. Fitches was at the bottom lane, he realized he was going to make a play onto St. Fitches. And the lower Velocity can keep St. Fitches' health, the less fearful they have to be of that Nautilus ultimate gank, which normally is a free kill. It's just a matter of his health being too low that he can't safely go in for those ganks.
So you're a jungler by trade. I have a question for you on these styles between what Nautilus brings to the team and what Lee Sin brings to the team. Specifically regarding jungle clears and gank power, who's better on each of those fronts?
It's actually kind of a complicated question because Nautilus is a very unique jungler. When Nautilus hits about level 7, his clear becomes absolutely absurd. And his gank is actually crazy. There's a mid-game spike for Nautilus, actually, similar to where Lee Sin is. It's just Lee Sin slightly stronger in the early game. I'd say the target selection by Nautilus is more exacting, whereas Lee Sin has to take more chances.
Oh, well, here comes the chance right here. Oh my god!
Oh, man.
They keep making NK Inc. miss skill shots, but that kick's not going to miss. Puts him right back into the team. Cop falls down. Jackie plays defense here with the ultimate, but he's not going to get anything for it.
And Nautilus might think about coming in, but this would be a very dangerous play to make as Voidboy tries to dive Chris as well.
And the exhaust is on the Ignite, traded back. Chris taking so much pain, and Void's going to grab that one, burns the ultimate, and says, yeah, I'm safe. Takes a kill, 1 for nothing.
The rest of the map is not sleeping on this one, though. Valrose is pushing up mid while there is still the 3v2 developing in bottom lane. They curse a lot of turret damage going down for Curse.
And there's a couple of hooks nearby, though. This could be a little bit rough for these Velocity guys. The ult comes off from Edward. Damage on NK Inc. Where's the next hook's going to come from? Looks like they're not going to go for anything. Lantern comes across, and Velocity will back off, but that turret's getting low.
And you can tell Valrose is trying to repressure this one, not wanting Nijacky's Twisted Fate ultimate to have any impact. They might come around the back and try to get Cop before he makes it to the turret and just dive him in, but there's a question mark pin coming down from Curse.
Edward at least has back. They have the numbers advantage, and look at that. They know about it. The communication is there for Curse. Velocity Esports, though, with the roam, pick up their second turret of the game, moving themselves 1,400 gold into the lead.
And we also have to track now Nijacky's escape from Valrose. He's got 2 levels on this kill, though, and St. Fitches would be able to close if Valrose gets too aggressive. Valrose has to be careful.
The hook does land. He's been rooted in the air as well, stunned up as well, and never at any point got to put his ulti on. Valrose falls down. Great gank there.
Yeah, Curse definitely outsmarted Velocity there a little bit. Valrose was baited into that one, and didn't even bother using his ultimate because he knew he was dead.
Yeah, so there we go. That's going to give them, oh my gosh, the timing is so perfect too because Dragon just respawned, Curse with the power play, and they're going to try to cement that with an objective.
Gotta realize though, Voyboy's ultimate's still on cooldown as well as St. Vicious. If they go for this, it could still be dangerous since NK Inc. with the execute damage from Lee Sin's Q would be able to outsmite St. Vicious plus the 1 level advantage. They're zoning around here, but Valrose is quickly trying to come up. We could very well see a fight off that knockup.
Gets the knockup, gets the pull, Chris taking a bunch of pain, gets pulled back in, and he just evaporates. Boy gets the kill credit there in the middle of the enemy team, taking some pain, ult comes across, but looks like Velocity has to run back. Edward making a play. Is this still going to be over? NK Inc. misses another Q. They get the hook on a Jackie, though. They go in. The flash keeps him alive. Twisted Fate is going to survive for
Here
now.
comes Voyboy. No, other way.
Boy runs back out. The net is there. Valrose comes back in. NK Inc. gets the execute on a Jackie. That time he lands the Sonic Wave resonating strike. And he's now going to go in on a St. Vicious. Has the damage. Force him to flash back. The Q from Maple Street, dropping him so incredibly low. But now it's actually Velocity who feels like they're more powerful.
And it ends up a 1v1 because Valrose came all the way back. Voyboy's ultimate actually did come up, which is why I thought he would dive in, but he's not confident enough yet with his Tryndamere damage, only having that Static Shiv and Vamp Scepter to go in, and you could tell the call from Curse was to retreat. As they're retreating, it's not easy to run from Varus, Kayle, Lee Sin, and Jace, just all the movement speed and slow that they can create as a team, and they chased down 1 kill plus got the Dragon afterwards.
So, great pickup then by these Velocity guys. And the teamfight mechanics working out pretty well. We look at this game, and it's still incredibly close. The kills are equal. The turrets not very far apart. It's just the 2 Dragons really pushing Velocity up ahead, and you can see that from their 2,000 gold lead.
And St. Vicious really wants to make more ganks count. Voyboy still clearly the one who's going to be strong here. Static Shiv is kind of what's bringing Tryndamere back, at least in a solo queue, because he gets so many procs off of using that spinning slash, and it also increases his split push wave clear. So look for Voyboy to not necessarily fight with a team unless it's very fortunate situation.
So let's see what Velocity can do to counteract the Tryndamere split push, because right now Chris has been having a very rough time 1v1ing him. 0-3 there on Jace. Some of those in lane, some of those in team fights, but Voy, he's been doing amazingly well.
And Chris hasn't really itemized against Voyboy aside from that 1 cloth armor. He's still trying to go for his core Jace items. We'll see if it pays off for him because it's allowing Voyboy to take over in lane, and it's kind of sacrificing because Chris still wants to be useful in the late game team fights.
So taking a look then at the Velocity lineup, because you say Voy's going to keep split pushing, it's going to be brutal for these Velocity guys. Who on that lineup can really even stand up to Voy in lane, or do they have to like shove it and then leave or something?
Well, the hope is, and the point of running the Tryndamere and trying to gank him so much, is Velocity doesn't really have anyone who can deal with them. As you can see now, NK and Chris are up in the top lane, and hopefully that's what Curse is trying to accomplish, because once they get the Twisted Fate roaming around well, they should be able to create mismatched opportunities throughout the map, and that's the whole point of this Curse composition.
All right, so different look for them. Not so much poke, but the split push, relying on the individual skill. Looks much more like Curse this game, I gotta say, and the Voy's making this look very good. So, Valrose back to the mid lane, wearing the blue buff, as is Jackie, and they're gonna play the wave clear game for now. With no real objectives available, looks like these guys are slowing the pace down a little bit.
And Nashor's Tooth is meaning they're wanting to push really fast. Getting the hook on Edward might be a good idea.
All in the box lands as well. The Thresh Prince knows all about that. Valrose gets the ult on. He'll survive, but turret aggro's on NK Inc., forcing him to flash away from this one. Vile's still up in the air. Exhaust burn. There's the flay for Evaniscus. Vile's going to try to haste him out. Here comes the ult from Caitlyn. A lot of pain there. Evan goes for another hook. Will they go on a Jackie? A lot of pain there. The gold card used as well.
Voyboy's behind him.
The damage coming across. Voy's going to find one, and the battle has gone. Double kill now for Voy. Chris trying to run, taking a lot of pain right here. Can he get out of this one? The hook lands. He's not going to get away. Triple kill. Voyboy, he might not be done. Maple Street tries to kite away. Ruin King should get him out.
That was a very good fight for Curse the way it developed. Going in for the Edward kill by Evaniscus really had the rest of Velocity travel through. Voyboy got all those kills without having to burn his ultimate, and they're going for a Maple Street kill too.
This does not look good for Varus. Pops his ult, tries to kite back. Of course, Trin does have turret aggro. And says,
great flash.
Oh my gosh, that flash. Maple Street, can he snipe it? 1 hit to go. Oh, Maple Street, you are amazing at this game.
2-0-2. Maple Street was the standout performer for Velocity yesterday, and he may have another standout performance here. Rushing that Blade of the Ruined King gave him some extra kite potential in the previous fight, and then when it was down, Voyboy thought he'd be able to dive him, but he kind of forgot about the flash, and Maple Street timed it just right getting over the wall. Voyboy had no proper escape paths, and Maple Street just was 2 steps ahead of Voyboy that entire time.
I gotta say, I was surprised by that flash too. I saw him disappear and thought that was like a cool death animation for Demon Blade Tryndamere, that guys just disappear, and I was like, where did Maple Street go? And then he kills, and I'm like, God, that guy is good at the game. So, with Voyboy still dead, he's just respawned now. Velocity looks for a little bit of a power play themselves. You got minion waves pushing up the top side. Mine looks like just some wave clear for now. They're going to try to reset this game again.
And the game has kind of reset itself just based on the back and forth kills. This is a very quality game so far. And Voyboy's really, really powering up. I just look at the total gold, 7,100 gold. It's 700 higher than the next closest on his team. Then the other closest in the game is Maple Street at 6,700, so it might turn into a bit of a brawl between these two, whether or not Voyboy can help carry Maple Street.
That's going to be a fun one to watch, man. I mean, Melee AD carries, they've been making their way back into the game a little bit in the competitive scene. A lot of it's just been Tryndamere, but it's fun to watch these guys sort of explode as the game goes on. Edward taking a little bit of poke right here. Acceleration gate on. It looks like Velocity, they want to kind of put the pressure on his Voice splitting top.
Yeah, and they have to be decisive with the way they go because Voyboy could take those turrets quickly. St. Fishes was actually around the back, so there was only 3 people holding for Curse. Curse is going to have to hold this inhibitor turret worth 4 because it does not look like Voyboy's coming back. So either Velocity has to go very quickly or they have to fall back for Voyboy.
And we look at them actually walk back right now, and the thing is, Voy has 5 of his team's 8 kills, so that 4v5 is actually a little bit poor on the Curse side. Velocity are running back. Let's see if Curse can stop VS from getting backwards. That turret's going down below half health, but they're going to go on Insane.
And Curse pushed out so far, Velocity trying to turn it. There's nowhere for Curse to run.
A lot of stuns knocked up there, but they get the first kill. Turret goes down 5v4, and Velocity wants to keep moving forward.
Voyboy is moving forward as well, though that was a kill, but it cost another turret. This is accelerating very quickly. The ultimate goes back to stop Chris's recall, and Voyboy is just wailing on that inhibitor turret.
That's going to be dropping very, very quickly down to about half health right now, and the rest of Velocity, they're waiting for a new minion wave, and there's only 10 seconds left till Saint revives.
And I feel like Voyboy's going to fight Chris for this inhibitor if Chris can handle it. Chris still doesn't have the itemization to deal with Voyboy. Velocity's got to be real careful here.
He's going to jump in right there, knock Voy back. He's still going to survive this battle. Voy's like, yeah, I'll heal off of minions. I don't really care too much. Looks like the battle might ensue.
He's got 4 levels on.
Oh, this is so bad. Chris taking more and more pain, and Voy says, you know what? Turrets are a little bit scary. Okay, this battle's still very, very close. Gets the knockback. Voy still does not flinch, though, on the ultimate. He might have to get forced back, though. The snipe! Ooh, almost.
Voyboy still had his ultimate that whole time, and you could tell Velocity realized that Chris couldn't hold that indefinitely. He did a really good job at holding the inhibitor, but it meant Velocity had to go back because they're not going to 4v4 inhibitor dive a Twisted Fate team plus a Blitzcrank. That is hard to dive through, and I feel like all those exchanges just gave Voyboy so much freedom and power in this game.
And look at what it did for the rest of the Curse lineup. The gold lead is now basically non-existent. You've got 500 gold, not 5,000, thank you, Internet. 500 gold separating these teams because Voy just killed 3 turrets.
Yeah, his pressure is as planned right now for Curse. Nijaki hasn't necessarily pulled out TF yet, but he's building up to that Zhonya's Hourglass so he can kind of fly in, pull the Zhonyas off, make himself untargetable, and just extend the fights for Voyboy to go in and clean up. That seems like the strategy. Cop is not on an aggressive AD carry. He's staying safe in the back because they have 2 AD carries in this game, and one of them is Tryndamere.
And that's going to be so fun for this Curse lineup here. They're looking to contest the Dragon. Velocity putting some damage down, but
this fight could be right now.
It could be. The hook comes by. Oh, NK Inc. He's got a lantern, though. Can he get out? Taking a bunch of pain, does pull back, but gets the KO at the same time. Everyone's in the middle of everybody. Evidence is trying to run backwards on Thresh, but Voy has picked up one. He's still moving forward. Cop takes some pain. NK Inc. in the back is still just not in a good place right here. Cop gets that one, but now Voy is going to fall over. 2 for 1 so far, but the battle will still rage on. Chris and Maple trying to run back. Double kill for Maple. He's still alive. Finally falls down. 3 for 2. Fire Rose goes down. 4 for 2. Huge for Cop.
Really good fight for Curse there. Triple kill comes down for Cop. Even though Voyboy was the huge distraction at the start of that fight, the only one to fall on Curse. Gotta say, just the hook onto NK Inc. created that fight in a spot that was really good for Curse. St. Fishes' ultimate ended up rolling through the whole team, knocking most people on Velocity up, and Maple Street just had nowhere to run at the end of that fight, and Curse rolled through them.
Absolutely beautiful fight, and you can see that from the Dragon afterwards. They've now built themselves a 3,000 gold lead. This game has been going back and forth for quite a while, but it's been tipping towards Curse a lot in the recent past.
And that may have been the tipping point because Curse has been mounting their comeback for quite a while. We actually have that fight one more time so we can take a look at it. And Freak, in this fight, just watch the St. Fishes ultimate. I could be wrong here, but see how far it goes through if he's going knocked back. You can see NK Inc. gets tracked, but it knocks up 3 there, as well as NK Inc. having the stun on. Evaniscus went down at the start, so the Thresh didn't have any peel potential, and Voyboy is in there with the whole team. It's amazing how long Voyboy held them there, which allowed Nijaki, Edward, and Koff to roll through the back of it, finish off Maple Street, who actually went in for the double kill but ended up giving his shutdown gold to Cobb, which is not the right move.
Very, very good teamfight mechanics then by these cursed players, making everything happen, and it looks like they're out for a little bit more. Voy near the top side of the map, but the mid lane seems to be the target for the rest of these guys. They're pushing down minions.
And the Infinity Edge being completed is a whole bunch of trouble. Chris does have the Mirror mana, but look out, Chris, if Voyboy closes on you.
Oh my gosh, the damage is there. Look at those crit chunks just removing his health bar.
He's gone.
He's gonna go down. Now Viro's taking a bunch of pain as well. He does fall down. 2 for nothing, and they might just collapse down onto the turret. Evanix is now forced to run from Voy. NK Inc has been stunned as well. Jackie takes some pain, but he will get out. No re-engage, but it's a 5v3 on the map.
2 quick kills there for Curse, and that just means Voyboy gets to return to his home here. I want to see how Curse plays this out now. Since they have 20-second death timers, they have a lot of options. It looks like they're just going to go back to base and shop because they feel like they have this one in pretty good hands.
They certainly do, and it's just Voy being the solo Tryndamere here, level 16. He is massive. I'm looking at the other people in the game, and I don't see anyone really even close to him here. I mean, he is just miles ahead of everyone else.
Tryndamere as the counter pick for Jace is really working out for Curse right here. Voyboy had it done to him in the playoffs, and he's just making it work. If Velocity doesn't send 2 people for Voyboy, they can't deal. But if they do, then Jackie does stuff like that.
Gets a stun on NK Inc. Well, they have the damage. He's going to get Lantern back, but here comes the re-engage. Evanisca's taking a bunch of pain. Flays back. Maple Street does not get hooked. The flash stun from Jackie. A lot of damage on NK Inc., but gets KO ulted. Velocity actually escapes from that battle beautifully, and now Chris looks to re-engage with the team. Do they have what it takes? The turret goes down. Saint still looking greedy.
Velocity is so low from that engagement. They have to go back and heal. This is giving Curse a lot of time to push these turrets. Blitzhook comes in right as the Lantern pulled that man to safety, and the creeps have run out, but Curse wants to make a push here.
We'll see if there's enough time. The minion wave is already back, and the players from Velocity are still healing. Jackie locks a gold card with Lichbane. Doesn't want to go for the turret just yet, though.
And they are a little bit low. They don't want to get too ahead of themselves. And Curse is sitting on a moderate amount of gold. Voyboy's got 1,800, and Cop has 1,000, so it might not be ill-advised if Curse decides to go back and heal up, because they have taken quite a step in the right direction now, really ripping that gold lead up. 5,500 now, I think? 5,000.
5,000. It does just keep growing. This Cursed lineup has been really turning it on the last 6 minutes. Velocity trying to find their stride in this game. They get the slow into Voyboy, but he's spinning slashes out. He's safe once again.
Yeah, Voyboy finished the Blade of the Ruined King. There's also not that much armor just across the board on Velocity, so he is just ripping people up if he's not crowd controlled or exhausted. There's just one exhaust available on Velocity, and that's Evaniscus, who will have to use it on Voyboy in the next fight.
So let's see if that's going to be enough to pin down the Demon Blade King, because that's going to be rough.
And Velocity's trying to make a play here. They know they can't win teamfights straight up, but they've caught Curse in a bit of a split push game. Voyboy's trying to go mid right now, while Velocity has 5 people bottom. If they dove right now, they might be able to get an inhibitor. Curse trying to get back to base.
Voy's recalling as is Nautilus. They're going to try to defend this in time if they can, but the turret down below half health. They're just going for it, full backdoor style. And Cake and Bowers take a bunch of damage. That turret will go down, 2 for nothing in that. But
Curse
here
is
comes
here.
The rest of the team. This could be close. Oh, Jackie with the Zonius does not get kicked back. Kappa's unstoppable, and the fight has begun. The knock-up on the Vile. He's getting shut down. No ult used by him at all. 3 for nothing, and the re-engage comes in. Void knocked back. The ult comes by. Maple tanks it for his support. There comes the slow bar as well. Gets Lantern back, but the chase is on. Saint and Edward are not done with this battle. The main is going to try to block the shot. Maple Street, he's going to be in hook range soon. It's going to be close. The flash in, the slow bar, and here comes TF. He is going down. Maple Street makes that a 4 for nothing, and Curse, it's their map.
That's the Russian hook. You just run up to them and punch them up. There's no chance of it missing. They secure the kill. Actually, smart play by Edward, making sure Maple Street couldn't dodge it and escape. And it almost paid off there for Velocity. They did get the inhibitor turret exposed, but now it's about what Curse turns off of that. I feel like Velocity caught Curse off guard, and then Curse responded in turn.
Okay, so the bottom lane then, the Curse response here is Cup pushing down, but it's actually the Baron that's the real team response.
And surprisingly, Curse doesn't have any wards on NK Inc until that one. Now it's a matter of, can NK Inc get in for this steal? No flash up, but he can jump in as Lee Sin. I don't know if St. Fitch's trust his smiting ability here against Lee Sin, and they might have to peel off this Baron for a fight.
His smite is there, the wards are there. Edward has an Oracles, the Q comes across.
Blue
team picks up Baron Nashor. It's actually the pull right there, and the kill onto NK Inc. Voyboy getting the credit for both of those.
That was really close, because NK Inc smite went off, St. Fitch's did not, which means NK Inc smited early, and then Voyboy's actually the one who got the last hit. Very close Baron dance right there, but with the Baron buff, Curse will look to potentially end this game. They got a lot of power momentum rolling through right now.
And 15 seconds plus no turret defending that inhibitor. There's no way Velocity holds on to this one. Curse pushing forward, though Cop is not with them just yet, but the 4 might just be enough, because Cop's pushing the mid lane and saying, look, we can get another turret for this. No one's going to stop Voyboy.
Yeah, Velocity might want to engage here just as a last-ditch desperation because Cop was not available, but unless they get the right kind of initiation with an Evaniscus Thresh Hook, it just wasn't happening. I don't think Velocity can realistically hold these turrets with the power that Curse has accumulated over the past few minutes.
And the hooks come nearby. Look at that. St. Vicious and Edward really making the rest of Velocity team honest. They know they can get pulled in. It's going to make life hard for them.
And Curse taking it quite slow, actually, if they decide to go all the way down for these turrets, taking all the outers. Since Velocity is actually getting 5 turrets of their own, Curse is making sure to just outpace them. They've been growing this gold lead. I think the game was tied at like 33 to 34,000. And since then, Curse has gotten about 16,000 gold to just 6 from Velocity. So Curse has been rolling for the past 5 or 10 minutes, and they're going to try to continue that by just picking up as much gold as possible through all of this.
Yeah, and there is turret number 7 for that. They're certainly having a really, really great mid to late game right here. Voyboy at 4 big items, and counting Xergreaves, 4 big items, why not? Is doing pretty well. So the push might still be coming. They do have Baron buff on that team. Voy's going to be mid, the rest of the team's going to be bottom. They might look for something else. Oh, the hook onto Chris. Chris gets the KO ult though, making that hook not mean quite as much as before. Jackie takes some pain, but Curse does disengage.
And most of the ults now for Velocity are completely down for this next fight. The only thing they have left is the Lee Sin kick and the Thresh box, while Voyboy wasn't even involved in that one, so Velocity have their backs way against the wall here, and they're in danger of losing all 3 inhibitors shortly.
You got to wave through the mid. The Caitlyn ult comes by as well, and here comes the rest of Curse saying, great, you open the door, Voyboy, let's all walk through it. The pull on a Saint doesn't mean a heck of a lot, and King has to go right back out. Now 2 inhibitors are down. Curse are still not letting up.
I feel like Velocity is going to try a last-ditch fight shortly here because once they lose 3 inhibitors, the game is pretty much over. But Curse still has Baron, and Velocity just doesn't have the ultimates to fight them here.
Oh my gosh, they're just driving in onto this one. The damage output is there. The turret's going to almost go down. They turn back for the fight. Chris taking so much damage, he goes down. 1 kill for nothing. Actually traded 1 back, but Evanescence falls over.
Oh,
Voyboy in the back line just dunking people right now. Voy will finally go down, but NKing's going to be the final casualty there. An ace for Curse. They're going to take this one down, and they grab their first win of the split.
Just a powerful performance by Voyboy and Curse at the end there. Taking up their first win will give them some confidence through the rest of this Super Week. Solid performance there, 31-minute win.
Absolutely great. Riding on the shoulders of Voy, playing a much more Curse-esque strategy. You can see him standing up there. Voy, you deserve to stand and take his headphones off. You did that one great.
Yeah, that was a good game for them. It was kind of classic Curse in the sense that they fell behind a little bit early to the inexperienced team, but then knew they had the late game strategy ready. The intentional ganks that Nijaki kept going top lane for Voyboy, and the fact that St. Vicious kept visiting Chris, plus the initial counter pick, really just said